Greetings and salutations, loyal viewers of this channel. My name is Sean, and today we got to talk about this proposal out of the city of Philadelphia. A proposal that was actually implemented a couple of months ago in an experimentation phase that completely failed. So, of course, they're trying to take it citywide, expand it to more neighborhoods, because you know what the issue is in Philadelphia with all the crime that's running rampant because they have a woke district attorney who doesn't prosecute anyone for anything? It's the fact that businesses are open in the city of Philadelphia. So we have a genius legislator that has decided that the reason crime is happening is not because they're not enforcing the law, not because District Attorney Larry Krasner is not prosecuting anyone for anything, but because businesses are open and therefore it is incumbent on the businesses to stay closed in order to prevent the crime from happening. Now we're going to get into this, but before we do, I want to thank everybody who signed up over at actualjusticewarrior.com/join.
Give me the money. Give me the money, okay?
And remind you that this show is available in podcasting form. Link to that in the description of this video.
Philadelphia businesses be restricted to a curfew. Kensington was the first back in March. And now a Philadelphia council member in Mount Airy and West Oak Lane is pushing for something similar. It's part of an effort to curb what he calls bad late-night behavior.
So there's a clip that is going viral. It comes from the NWokeness account related to this one Philadelphia city council member, a guy called Phillips, who's saying that he's trying to curb bad late-night behavior, and he's actually following another set of neighborhoods in the Kensington area who tried this, and he thinks that that was a great success. Therefore, he wants to replicate it right here. Now, I find this to be absolutely amazing because we're covering simultaneously Democrats in New York City and in San Francisco trying to force businesses to stay open in order to endure crime, while at the same time, by the way, Boston's doing that too, but while at the same time, we're now watching Philadelphia trying to close businesses because the businesses are the cause of the crime. Because when it comes to Democrats, no matter what the issue is, no matter how easily and straightforward you could solve it, it's much easier for them to blame the businesses.
How are you? Good seeing you.
Philadelphia City Council member Anthony Phillips out talking to business owners along Ogons Avenue about a new bill that would set a midnight curfew for businesses from 66th to Cheltenham Avenues.
This is a very preventative measure, but it's also about preserving the quality of life.
So first and foremost, that this guy's actually going to these businesses saying that he's going to do a preventative measure, aka force these businesses to close. And I just want to point out that his reason, his justification, is absurd in every possible way.
We have watched and witnessed business owners allow for loitering to take place, smoking to take place, dumping to take place.
He said that the businesses allow for loitering to take place, for smoking to take place, for all these different other various behaviors to take place. But guess what? The businesses aren't allowing that to happen because that drives people away from their businesses. It is, in fact, this guy right here, this member of the city council, every member of the Philadelphia City Council who voted to defund the police, Larry Krasner, the district attorney, who refuses to enforce any kind of laws, including quality of life laws. So instead, what's actually going to end up happening is they're going to go more authoritarian on the businesses, enforce a curfew against them, because when the city stops doing their job, apparently that's the business's fault.
The bill would impact businesses like Cali and Rodriguez mini markets. Right now, both stay open 24 hours a day. Neither business owner was around to talk with us.
Now, to be clear, there's also an element of corruption in this particular situation because you see they're going after these 24/7 type of businesses, and they say that they're the reason why there's loitering, they're the reason why there's a bunch of different problems, not the fact that the Philadelphia police basically can't enforce any laws against loitering. It's definitely on these businesses, and we're going to get into a little bit later who is exempt from this and why I think that's such a problem. But what I find interesting is that the first guy they pull off the street who wants to do an interview with the local news actually has the correct solution.
But customer John Ricketts offered his thoughts.
Maybe a little more police patrol. That may help.
I always find it funny when they find these random citizens off the street and they say the most obvious thing humanly possible to the local news, and then the local news has to still explain this policy as if it is a sensible proposal, even though this guy just cut to the heart of the issue. He doesn't see any police around here. If there's bad behavior around here, maybe send in the police, go into patrols, enforce quality of life crimes, and guess what? Quality of life will actually improve. Shocking, I know, what a great theory for everybody out there in the audience to analyze, but it is much better than this absolutely failed policy.
Gas stations, restaurants with liquor licenses, and drive-thrus would be exempt from the curfew. Neighbor Shanita Starr says she's aware of the problems in this area.
That's why I don't come outside. I don't know what goes on in particular places. but I don't come outside because it's too dangerous out here.
So of course, just like the COVID-19 lockdowns, what we find out is that major corporations and well-connected businesses are completely exempt from this particular policy. Restaurants with liquor licenses, they pay that additional fee in order to serve alcohol. You can't have them close, even though drunk people leaving places that serve liquor late at night are probably causing these nuisance violations that they're talking about in the city of Philadelphia. But you also have McDonald's, other fast food places completely allowed to stay open, and gas stations with 24-hour markets that are probably identical in function, except that they sell gas to the very stores that they're trying to target. But of course, these businesses have to bear the brunt of it because likely they have less political power than any of those other businesses that we're talking about. Now, I referenced earlier on in this particular video that this was actually tried in Kensington. In fact, it was passed in March. There was actually a segment about it that we can look into for a little bit so you can get an idea of how similar this policy actually is.
As the train rumbles overhead, the grim street theater of Kensington plays out. The homeless huddle around tents while street drugs are openly used. The city's new leadership has pledged to clean up Kensington, and it's likely to start with a shuttering of overnight businesses at 11 p.m. This man didn't want his face shown.
Walmart for drugs out here.
Now, I just want to point out for everybody in the audience that even when you look at this proposal from a couple of months ago in Kensington, in this particular area, one of the things that you notice is that the problem is the drug users, the open-air drug market, and not necessarily the businesses. In fact, when you look at the video, what you see is that these people are camped disproportionately in front of either closed forever businesses or businesses that are closed temporarily.
Passed in City Council Thursday.
The bill passes.
The bill, if signed by Mayor Parker, will close about a dozen small stores, smoke shops, and takeout restaurants in the so-called Kensington corridor at 11 p.m. and allow reopening at 6 in the morning.
And again, you could see how similar it is. You banned certain restaurants from being able to open. You said 11 p.m. instead of midnight like they're proposing in these other parts of Philadelphia. They have to open up at 6 a.m. And guess what? None of these problems were solved. Guess what? The Walmart for drugs, the open-air drug market, was not removed when you decided to target legitimate business owners. In fact, just a couple of weeks ago, there was a meeting where people were voicing their frustrations in Kensington for these same issues.
When it comes to quality of life issues and crime, Kensington is king. This was the scene right outside the door and right after a community meeting with Philadelphia's police commissioner and his deputy commissioners, who came out to hear from anyone who wanted to voice whatever gripes, fears, and hopes they have about their neighborhood.
So I love that setup for this particular meeting. About a month and a half after they passed this ordinance in Kensington, after they cracked down on these businesses, they said that they were the problem. Of course, they didn't start enforcing quality of life stuff. What ultimately ends up happening is they have a meeting to discuss how all the same problems are still in effect. They have not been addressed. And post the meeting with all these different police officials, what you have is these illegal ATV riders making noise, making a nuisance, which is just one of the many things that the Philadelphia police doesn't enforce laws against, doesn't have anything to do with the businesses, and is creating quality of life problems in the city of Philadelphia, and specifically in this neighborhood. Now, obviously, you look at the images. The open-air drug market, way worse. The fact that they just allow these people to set up camps like it's Los Angeles, insane in every possible way. But the fact is, this is a beautiful symbol of the failure of this legislation.
Jackson Street with a convenience store 24 hours. It needs to be closed for them. It needs to be shut down by a certain time or just completely shut down. The slaughterhouses that they're selling drugs out of, they need to go. We're recording them and nothing's being done.
So this woman references a 24-hour convenience store, and she's actually in favor of not only shutting it down for the hours, because if you listen to her carefully, she said it was shut down after a certain period of time, but she wants it to remain shut down because she thinks that the convenience store is one of the problems that they're experiencing in Kensington. Now, she also, after making that stupid point, talks about the squatter houses that people are selling drugs out of, and unsurprisingly, Philadelphia has similar squatting problems that we covered across the country, and of course, you couldn't dare evict these people who are dealing drugs out of abandoned houses or houses that they're stealing, because that would be absolutely horrible. Imagine evicting those innocent Angel Aladdins who are feeding drugs into the community.
The homeless are coming over, they're wandering around. Sad situation that we're in. We do not live there.
I need you to be our eyes and ears.
Our job is to get in here and plow the road and weed it.
So here you have the Philadelphia police saying that it is your job to be our eyes and ears, but remember, we're told in other parts of Philadelphia that the same policy that they passed a month and a half to 2 months prior to this meeting would address all of these specific problems, that these businesses were the issue, but guess what? All of the same complaints are in force, and the police are saying, hey, we need you to be our eyes and ears because the police are not patrolling this area because they've had their funding cut, and that caused a decimation in recruitment. And guess what? When they make arrests, when they actually target these individuals, Larry Krasner doesn't prosecute them. He doesn't punish them. There are no consequences, and when there's no consequences for bad behavior continues, and you inflicting those consequences on the business owners isn't going to change anything.
We have people that will play music till like the wee hours of the night at very, very loud volumes. I mean, it's really, you can't even be in your house with the air conditioning on and not hear your TV in your house.
I mean, again, seriously, listen to the problems that these residents in Kensington are describing after the implementation of this policy that punishes the businesses, and tell me that's a good policy. Tell me that that's sensible. Tell me that's more sensible than what that random guy said, which was have more police patrols, enforce quality of life crimes, and actually have some damn consequences for this piss poor behavior. But apparently, that can't be seen. Apparently, this legislature, this city councilor, Phillips over here, this absolute buffoon, this absolute imbecile, needs to enforce the same exact stupid policy against the businesses in his neighborhood that people in the community actually like because it works so well by not solving a single problem in Kensington. What an absolute idiot. And then, of course, he follows it up with this dumbass statement.
Councilmember Phillips knows it will not be supported by all.
What I say to those businesses that may not be happy is the fact, how about be a resident in this area where you got to deal with the loud music, where you guys see drugs walking across the street.
Yeah, so this guy says, oh, how about instead of being a business, you be a resident in this area where you have to deal with the loud music, where you have to see drugs walking across the street. I love the fact that this guy has disassociated the criminal from all responsibility, that it comes through so strong in his language. He's like, the loud music, that must come from the businesses. First of all, it probably comes from the residents, you absolute doof. Number one. Number two, you're not advocating for more quality of life patrols in this particular area to crack down on this. And number three, the drugs don't just walk down the street. People who are drug users and drug dealers are the ones walking down the street. So it's absolutely absurd that this guy promotes zero personal responsibility. When you ask the residents of Philadelphia what's going on, the people in this particular neighborhood, and they say they avoid it because of the people in this neighborhood, because of the lack of law enforcement.
And while some business owners on the Strip support the proposed change,
there's no reason to be on the streets by midnight.
This guy, I hate him. I'm against him in every possible way because he's totally bending the knee in this regard, and it looks like he has a cell phone repair shop, so I don't know why the hell you're open at 3 a.m. in the first place. This clearly doesn't apply to you, so shut your face. But I know the local news wanted to paint this as maybe an ambiguous policy on whether or not it's good or bad, so they needed some lemming to come and suck up to this politician in order to excuse this piss poor policy, this ridiculous notion. So this guy, absolute failure, against him in every possible way. I will not be repairing my phone there, not only because I don't like this guy, but also because I don't live in Philadelphia and I'm nowhere near this area. So why would I go there in the first place?
Councilmember Phillips says his goal is to see this bill passed by the July 4th holiday so that it'll take effect as the summer starts to heat up.
Yeah, so this guy wants to pass this law by the July 4th holiday, this provably ineffective law, so that he could ruin these businesses in the summer season where a lot of them might benefit from the foot traffic in the evening. So yeah, great job. But can we really be surprised that these are the people that represent the city of Philadelphia? Can we really be surprised that these are the solutions that they come up with, despite the fact that they failed in other neighborhoods like Kensington already and people are complaining about it? Can we be surprised that this is the result in an area that elected District Attorney Larry Krasner, that re-elected him, even though nationwide a lot of these woke DAs are being rejected, even in the most progressive places like Portland, like San Francisco? Recall effort that is going going on in the city of Oakland, but these guys are sticking with Krasner, sticking with the pro-criminal ideology, despite record-breaking raw number of homicides under his tenure. Absolutely shameful, absolutely disgusting, ridiculous in every possible way, provably a bad policy, yet they're going to put it forward. And again, the businesses are to blame, except for the well-connected businesses. They're totally fine. They're totally perfect. They didn't do nothing. They're innocent angel Aladdins, just like the innocent angel Aladdins running the open-air drug markets and squatting in these particular areas. Now, again, I'm going to leave the floor open to all of you guys, because these are just my thoughts. I want to know what you guys think down in the comments below. If you like the video, show them by leaving a like, subscribe for more content, follow me on the social media, support me via the support links in the description of this video. This has been me talking about these absolute idiots trying to punish businesses rather than criminals. Till next time.